Hi, my name is Pat, and this is my channel, Book Chat with Pat, and I'm glad that you're here. Today I'm going to be doing a review of the novel by Fredrik Backman, My Friends. This is his newest novel, and it was translated by Neil Smith. I've mentioned this book in several videos over the past month because my real life in-person book group was reading it for this month, so I've just mentioned it in a couple of wrap-up videos, but I didn't want to actually fully discuss it until after my book group had had a chance to meet to talk about it. And we've now had our meeting, so I feel free to discuss it more fully here. This is a novel that takes place in two different time frames. In the present tense of the novel, 18-year-old Louisa is an amazingly talented young artist who has just aged out of the foster care system. She has experienced extraordinary losses in her life. First, of her parents, and most recently of her best friend and fellow foster child, someone we know only as Fish. Right from the start, we know that this is going to be a novel about mourning and the grieving process. Throughout her life, Louisa has carried around with her a postcard that has a famous painting on one side. It's a painting of the sea and a pier and a group of teenagers sitting at the end of the pier overlooking the sea. On the other side of the postcard is a note, and it says in very shaky handwriting, "It is so beautiful here. The sun shines every day. Miss you. See you soon, Mom." We find out in the first chapters, though, that Louisa found this postcard when she was 6 or 7 years old, when she was living in a particularly chaotic foster home. She experienced the painting as the first really beautiful thing she had ever encountered, and she stole the postcard from a collection of postcards. She also tells us it's the first thing she ever stole. She wrote the message to herself from her mom, imagining what it would be like to be longed for and to be loved. This little card with the made-up message from her mom is Louisa's only source of comfort when we first meet her. As the novel opens, Louisa is at an art auction where the actual painting is being featured and sold. Also in the present tense, and quite by accident, or is it, Louisa meets the actual artist of the painting. She thinks she's run into a homeless person. He's not. He's actually dying when she meets him. He's very ill, but he does have a home and he is being taken care of. And we find this out in the earliest chapters of the novel. He sees in her extraordinary artistic potential. Now, the past tense of the novel follows the lives of the teens depicted in this painting. 25 years earlier, the artist and his 3 best friends, Yoar, Ted, and Ali, spent an unforgettable summer together when they were 14 and 15 years old. All of them had home lives that were difficult in one way or another. And the 4 of them form a kind of found family in their little friend group. We follow the teens coming of age as they navigate situations that are at times humorous, irreverent, and fun, and at other times filled with very real trauma. We learn about these events of 25 years earlier because now, in the present tense of the novel, Louisa ends up on this strange train journey with one of the four friends, Ted. Ted had been taking care of the artist to his up until his death. Ted tells her the story of how this beloved painting came to be, and he also tells her how the artist came to be the artist, the famous artist that he is in the present tense. He tells her the stories, the life stories of the four teens and how they survived really tumultuous lives. That makes up sort of like every other chapter. We're either in the present tense of this weird train journey or we're in the past tense where we're learning about these four teenagers as Ted is telling Louisa about them. The novel is filled with really delightful humor, laugh out loud humor in places. It's filled with a lot of surprises too. The things that you are sure are going to happen, things that are hinted at all through the novel, do not in fact occur. The ending is filled with twists and turns and surprise outcomes that I didn't expect, that I didn't see coming. Part of the novel is most definitely about coping with horrendous societal and family problems like alcoholism, drug addiction, domestic violence, child abuse, and bullying. It is about children losing their parents, and in some cases, it's also about parents losing children. It's a novel that gives language to grief and the grieving process in ways that I haven't experienced in fiction in quite a while. Even in all of the trauma and loss depicted in this novel, it is perhaps most of all about art and its redemptive value. And this, I think, is why I really love this book. At one point, a woman who has suffered an unimaginable loss tells Louisa, quote, "It's art that helps me to cope because art is a fragile magic, just like love. And that's humanity's only defense against death. That we create and paint and dance and fall in love, that's our rebellion against eternity. Everything beautiful is a shield." Of course, ultimately, it is a novel about the restorative power of love. Love among family and friends who become family. A love that we carry within us that sustains us no matter what life throws our way. I desperately needed a novel that would leave me with some hope. Fredrik Backman's My Friends is that book. As always, I thank you for watching. I hope that you're doing well. I'll speak with you again soon. Take care.